Welcome to Beyond HR, the podcast for people-first leaders who know that HR is about more than checklists and compliance. I'm Paige, your co-host, and we will explore the real challenges shaping today's workplaces. From burnout and belonging to strategy and storytelling, we're bringing you honest conversations, practical insights, and a fresh take on what it means to lead with heart in the world of work. Before we dive into our episode, a quick shout out to Manpower for generously providing the space where we record Beyond HR. And here's a quick word from our launch sponsor.
If you're feeling stretched thin, juggling big changes, emotional labor, and communication breakdowns, you're not alone. Hi everyone, I'm Dan Kaplan, founder of Bring Disc to Life, an online community for aspiring leaders and HR professionals. We give you the strategies, tools, and encouragement to communicate in ways that increase your influence while lowering your stress. Using DISC, the 5 behaviors, and mindfulness, you'll learn to stay grounded, read minds, and frame your message to influence others. We have live workshops every month, group coaching to unpack tough situations, and tons of easy-to-use scripts, strategies, and resources that you can apply right away without adding more to your plate. So come refuel with a community that gets you and wants to help you speak your truth in a way that's heard. Join us at confidentcommunicator.com and click on community. That's confidentcommunicator.com. Lead yourself and others will follow.
We're going to be talking about something that so many HR pros quietly wrestle with, how to stop holding yourself back and start showing up fully. So our guest, Milton Hunt, brings a powerful perspective on identity leadership and the internal trust it takes to reignite your purpose. So if you've ever felt stuck or maybe your fire has dimmed, this conversation is for you. So we're excited to welcome Milton Hunt today. He's a seasoned leadership coach and motivational speaker with over 30 years of experience. Wow, that's pretty impressive, Milton. So welcome to our show. We're really excited to have you.
Well, thank you so much. And it's great to be here with you. And all I can do is say thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it so much. As you share, my name is Milton Hunt. I'm full-blooded Native American from the Lumbee tribe out of North Carolina. I've had the pleasure of doing this body of work now. It's actually coming on about 35 years, believe it or not. I'll be 65 this year. Now, I know I don't look it, so thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that and sharing those kind words. That's awful nice of you. But, it's been my gift, my purpose, my passion, and my calling. I believe it's important that you discover why you were born. What are you on this planet to do? And mine is real simple. It's to leave the world a better place as a result of my being. So what you see here is not stage. This is not an act. We didn't dress up to talk to you for an hour. We just actually took a break in our day from what we do to stop and visit with you, because it's the same thing every day. How do we impact people? How do we lead people better than we found them? So let's dive into it. Let's see how we can help some people today.
Perfect.
Absolutely. Yeah. So can you tell me, Milton, you talked a little bit about purpose and passion. So can you tell me, who would you say you are at your core and what fuels your passion for the work that you do?
Well, the first thing I should tell you is I'm a man of faith. So I should start by telling you I'm a broken man. I'm a broken man that's had to overcome. I believe Booker T. Washington said it the best. Success should never be measured by the success and the accomplishment and the achievements that one has reached. But success truly should be measured by the obstacles that a man has had to overcome. Because if you show me an overcomer, I'll show you a becomer. So that's my whole life. My whole life has been a series of pivoting, repurposing, reorganizing, just kind of putting my life back together. Substance abuse, alcoholism, those were all part of my life. And so my story is one that a lot of people can relate to. It's a story of struggling, but yet it's a story of perseverance and resilience. And it's all about knowing this. The power of the most dominant thought you have is what you will become. And if you believe you can, you can. And if you can't, you should change the way you think, because you most certainly can. So this is really who I am. I love what I do, and I'm very passionate about it.
Now, thinking back on your life and your history and how you got to where you're at right now, but what was that one pivotal experience or handful of experiences that kind of made you make that determination in your life to take a change for it?
Well, I didn't make the determination. The determination was made before me, and I'll show you what I mean. On December of 1979, I met a gentleman named Dr. Preston Bruce, who would change my life. He'd become my mentor for some 42 years. We'd spend countless hours together. I'd sit at his feet and learn. Matter of fact, if you've read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Wysocki, he was my rich dad. He was rich in love, rich in emotion, rich in giving, rich in caring. Matter of fact, I often say he taught me how to love. So he was a man who was very purposeful in my life. So I didn't choose him, he chose me. And so I was fortunate to have somebody see something in me that they thought was special, that they thought could be shaped and molded. So at age 18, when I encountered this man who was, in my eyes, perfect, he was everything a man could ever want to be. He had all the accolades. He was appointed by Secretary Shalala under the Clinton administration to be the national at-risk youth person for the United States of America. His father was doorman of the White House. He pitched for the Pittsburgh Pirates. His story went on and on and on, and yet he chose me. So the pivotal moment was the day that he walked into my life. A lot of people will tell you there's been some people that influenced them, some people that led them down the path. So that's what Dr. Bruce was for me. We'd spend the next 42 years together just learning about life, people, and how to become the best version of myself.
Wow. Super powerful, and especially on the rich in love, rich in caring. I mean, that's a great perspective to have. A lot of people think of monetary rich, and that's such a great perspective to have.
Thank you for
Wow.
talking
That's a
about
little
it.
nugget from today already.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Milton, tell us a little bit about how you got started in the work that you do. We already talked a lot about kind of what has influenced you, but how did you get started?
Well, I often say I had a bad attitude. I didn't work well with others. I didn't like taking supervision. So after being fired about 3 times, I had to figure out, like, okay, how am I going to make this thing work?
Wow.
And I often tell the story, and people laugh that I've been to the ninth grade 3 times. So at best, I'm a C student, at best, on a good day. But I only hire A students to work for me. And I only listen to A students, and I only circle myself with exceptional people. Because I recognize what Dr. Bruce said, you're as strong as the network around you. And when you're the smartest person in your group, it's time to get a new group. So how did I start this thing? So I had some jobs leading up to around age 30, sales jobs. I worked in supermarkets. I had a regular job like everybody else, but it wasn't fulfilling. It was a paycheck. It was a means to an end. You know what I mean? I had some bills to pay. Matter of fact, I took my first job because I went and got a car. Now listen to this. Went and got a car, and then I had to figure out how to pay for it. So a friend of mine said they were hiring where he works. I said, I'll take the job. Little did I know I didn't want the job. I wanted the car. And a lot like you see people do today. They find themselves in debt and they want these things in life, but they haven't figured out what the most important thing is what do they want to do with their own life. And so I kind of was working backwards. Sounds like a very familiar story. But somewhere along the way, I knew entrepreneurship is something I wanted to do. I often say I believe my family had entrepreneurship running through his veins. My father was kind of a handyman entrepreneur, he did his own thing. But what happened to me was an interesting path. I went to the SBA in Baltimore to inquire about starting a business. And I'll never forget walking in there and asking the gentleman behind the counter, hey, listen, I want to start a business. What do I need? He says, real simple. You need this flyer, this brochure, this pamphlet. And by the way, if you live in Baltimore City, you got to go to the courthouse to get a license. If you live in the county, you got to go to the county courthouse. And he just went through all these things. And so I get to the county, I get to the city, because I lived in Fells Point at the time in Baltimore. I get to the city courthouse, and you need this, you need that, you need that. And then you got to get a taxpayer ID number, and they sent me down to another building.
The
And
checklist.
it dawned on me right then. Now, this is 1989. It dawned on me right then. There should be one place to get all this information, and you shouldn't be running people all around. You should just hand them something. But the problem is you got state government, city government, federal government, county government, and they all don't kind of talk to each other. They all got their own budget. So I took all their information together and put it in one concise book and went back to them and said, would you give this out? You don't have to pay for the printing. I'll pay for it. I just want you to give the book away. And they said, well, what do you want in exchange? I said, distribution of the book. I want you to give out as many as you can, because then I'll sell advertisement and I'll figure a way to monetize it. Sure enough, we get up to about 40,000 a year that we're distributing. And now at this point, all I'm recognizing is I'm statewide giving this little red book away called the Business Resource Guide. And I want to get more distribution, and charge more advertising dollar, more monetization. And a lady said this to me, and this is when it all changed. She said, listen, will you come and talk about your book? I said, only if you'll let me give it away, because I got to give them away so I get distribution. She says, oh, don't worry. We'll let you give it away, but we'll pay you $75 if you come talk about your book. I thought, wait a minute, you're going to pay me and let me give my book away too? So sure enough, they give me this great lunch. It's the Rotary Club, downtown Baltimore. They give me the $75 check at the end. And just as I'm leaving, she goes, hey, see that guy over there? He's got a much larger group than I do. He pays $150. And they have a speaker twice a month. They're so big. So I meet him, and then it dawned on me. Here I was walking around trying to get distribution, when the truth of the matter was, the money wasn't in doing the thing. The money was in teaching people and talking about how to do the thing. And the light came on. So some of Dr. Bruce's, at this point, 12 years of tutelage is kicking in. Now I'm 30 years old. We've been together for 12 years. Everything he's saying I can kind of see now, starting to make sense. And then I had the courage to say, for the next 5 years, I'm going to build my craft. I'm going to hone my skills. I'm going to mentor from some of the greatest speakers that I can find. I want to do this for a living. And it wasn't until the first time somebody paid me $500 to talk for 1 hour that I literally took the money, put it on the bed, and said, I didn't have cell phones to take pictures, or I would have.
I was going to ask that, actually.
I'd have video. I'd have posted on every Instagram, everywhere, right? We didn't have this in 1992. And so I realized then people would pay me if they saw value in me. And so now what I had to do was build my value to command more dollars. Then when somebody paid me $1,500 an hour to talk, I literally went, wow, this is amazing. But when the first time somebody paid me $5,000 an hour to talk, I changed my whole perspective of life, because I recognized I wanted to get to that $15,000, $20,000 an hour. And what does that command? What does that look like? And for me, it was all going back to that day where we gave the book away and somebody said, now prior to that, I didn't realize it, but I grew up in church, so I would give readings, and I grew up in the community, and I was always involved, and I was always talking. I had traits that may have lent itself to speaking, but I wasn't a trained or a professional speaker. I meet people all the time and say, I'm a motivational speaker. And my first question I ask them is, that's fantastic. Now, who pays you to speak? And who has paid you repetitiously to come back and speak? Because now we're a true professional. And so I learned then that if you have a message and you can give people value, people will pay for information, provided the information gives them what they want. So that's the story dating back to 1989, how we got here in 2025 on this beautiful June day, where we're sitting here saying, if I had to do all over again, this is the one thing I would have done differently. I listened to Dr. Bruce earlier and started earlier. It took 12 years for me to believe in myself that I could do what he was saying I could do. A famous quote, Dr. Bruce. If you cannot see what I see, borrow the belief that I have in you until you see what I see in you, because I know you can do it. And I would look at him after he would say that and say, borrow your belief. How in the world do I do that? Like, what does that look like? So I'm a byproduct of people that believed in me, encouraged me, supported me. And so that's how we got here.
Now, one of the things that I kind of made a note here in regards to actually two-part. One is mentorship, and the other one is the ability and willingness to care for others enough to give into their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I know there's plenty of opportunities in life to get mentorship, either from people that we work with, connections. What do you think set that connection so strongly between you and your mentor to be working side by side closer together for that many years of life?
Because he instituted something from day one that I'd never seen anybody else do. And you've heard this saying before, people don't care how much you know, so they know how much you care.
Mm.
I recognize he was a very brilliant man. I mean, he's driving a Mercedes, for God's sakes, in 1978. Like, who had a Mercedes, right? He was always dressed in suits, and his home was impeccable. So, like, you knew something was going on. And I knew he was who he said he was because he took me to his office and said, here's some stuff I want you to take a look at. And this is when he signed with the Pirates, and this is when he was, got this award and that award. So I saw it, but I didn't care about any of that. I cared about the part that he thought I was special. And see, that's what we miss in mentorship. We forget that the person being mentored is not us. And we don't mind pouring into people that we believe are going to succeed. When the truth of the matter is, if Dr. Bruce had it to do all over again and he knew it took 12 years to get me here, would he still do it again? And the answer is absolutely yes. If he knew I was at 42 years later after our relationship right here, would he do it again? Absolutely, because he cared about me. So yes, mentorship is critical, but see, here's what I often say. Mentorship should never stop. At 65, I'm looking for my next mentor. One that was very close to me just passed away. And I'm looking for the next person in my life that can pour the sage wisdom into my life that will grow me to 85 to 90. Because that's 25 more years that I still got to pour into people. But if you're not thinking about mentorship and growing your own self, that you have arrived at this station in life, oh, you're fooling yourself. Everybody needs a mentor. And here's what mentorship does for me. When I give myself away to somebody, it proves to me that I'm of value, and it proves to me that I can make a difference. Now, when I'm receiving mentorship, here's what it does to me. It proves to me that somebody has done what they're telling me I can do. What it proves to me is I have the belief now in me, because if somebody else has done it, I can do it. And if they're willing to show me how to do it, I know I can do it. So mentorship plays this interesting role in our lives where you're giving, but you're also receiving. I will share with you, in my mentorship roles of mentoring people, they don't know it, but they put more in me than I gave to them. And that's what we miss as mentors, that we think it's a one-sided relationship. Man, there's nothing like mentoring somebody that you watch them do the very thing that you're saying, hey, listen, I don't want to tell you what to do with your life, but I can promise you that path that you're on may not yield the fruit that you want.
So with us being in HR and having these roles of leadership, why do you think it's so hard for us to be willing participants in the act of mentoring others behind us or seeking out mentorships in front of us?
It's real simple, because people let us down, people hurt us, people don't follow through, and we feel like our time is being wasted, and we make it all about us. Our eyes are in the wrong place. Hey, listen, when I was in Chicago this past week speaking at the Federation of Tax Administrators, the sharpest minds in the United States having to do with our taxation, from every level of government. Every state was represented. I walk into this room, hundreds of people. Guess how many people I'm really talking to, Will? Will, guess how many people out of 100 people I'm really talking to? 3. You think you're talking to the whole room. No, you're not. You're talking to the people that are ready to go, that need it right now. And so mentorship, man, we think that's the one. That's the one right there. This is the one. And then when they let us down, they go get another job. They change careers. I wasted all my time. No, you didn't. First of all, it built your capacity. Second of all, you don't know what you did to them. and you don't know what difference you made.
Hmm.
So here's why the problem we have is we got our eyes on the wrong thing.
Hmm.
I can understand that. I mean, a lot of us in HR, and I speak very broadly, but a lot of us say, we're constantly showing up for others. So like your
Yes.
different frame of mind is different because then they struggle to show up for themselves. So do you feel like it's kind of like embedded in an HR professional?
I think you're enablers.
Mm.
Ooh, pause that for a
Oh,
second. Pause that for
that
a second, because
hurts.
that's no. I'm thinking it more like there's an essence of truth, even after you work through the quote unquote hurt part of it. That is so true. Like, purposely or by accident, we tend to have that trait.
Your default goes to that place, and it's not your fault. It's what you've been taught. What if you came into HR and you did like this? You said, listen, I'm only going to be here 40 years. I'm only going to be here 2 years, 5 years. I need to find the 3 to 5 people that are ready to go right now, that want me to pour all my life into them. If you will self identify yourself, we'll start a relationship right now, today, that I promise you in 5 years you'll be better off.
Mm.
But we won't do that. We sit back and I guess, I wonder which one wants my sage knowledge. Which one do you think it'll be?
Yeah.
Not her. Maybe it's him. And you're fooling yourself.
Hmm.
Give your gift away. The gift was meant to be given away. That's why it's called a gift. Give it away and watch what happens. But
Hmm.
no. Dr. Bruce told me, he said, here's the problem with you, Milt. He said, you got your hand like this and you want to receive. It's
Hmm.
not until you open it like this to give that something will fall into your hands.
Yeah. And for the
Interesting.
listeners, we're talking about a fist versus an open
Yes,
hand.
I'm sorry. I should clenched fist versus an
Yeah.
open hand.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yep. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. And I think it's interesting, just kind of that whole concept, because we do have that tendency of wanting to help everyone, but by
Yeah.
default, because we want to help everyone, we don't end up helping anyone at all. To
Oh
your
my
point.
goodness, so well said.
Yeah.
Wow.
If people self-identify, walk in the room and go like this. Who needs help immediately? Raise your hand. I'm here.
Hmm.
Instead, we want to play the game. Is it you? You think it might be you? Is it you?
Yeah.
Stop it. How much time do we have? We don't have but so much time in a day. Let's stop wasting time.
And I think something
Who's
else that
ready to go right now? Who needs help getting their HR certification that would like me to pour into you how I passed the test, how I got my first job making 6 figures? Who is that person? Who is it?
Oh,
Yeah, and I think something else that you said too. It's interesting, or not interesting, impactful for me, is the fact that we have to be willing to understand that what we have is a gift. I
Yes.
don't think that's a hard pill to swallow and be able to process. Especially for those of us that kind of bumped into HR. I mean, there are a lot of people out there that went to school and got degrees and things
Absolutely.
around HR. So I guess they kind of sort of know what they were wanting to do. But for folks that kind of just popped into the field and started doing it and happened to be doing it for so many years, we struggle with the idea that what we have is a gift that we are partaking in and sharing with those around us. So we very easily can get overwhelmed with all the crazy parts of the job, because by all means, this is not a job for the lighthearted. But being able to have that understanding, that space to know that our job or our careers are a gift to those around us. And I think that's one of those awarenesses that I've come to, is understanding that we are here to heal our workplaces. That seems to be my mantra now as of lately. But HR folks are healers of the workplace, and finding how that plays out and what that means to us is super key.
So, Will, I'd ask you to change the way you think there.
Hmm.
And when you said we're a gift to the workplace, no, they're a gift to you.
Hmm.
See, here's why they're a gift to you. Because you get to shape them, you get to mold them. You get to pour your sage wisdom into them.
Hmm.
See, the gift is that they are there for you to give, not vice versa. Now, listen, I'm Mr. and Mrs. HR. I've been here 442 years. you knew the wisdom that I have, I forgot more about HR than you'll ever know. See, nobody don't want that.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah.
so I'm telling you, the gift is you.
Hmm.
You're the gift. Give the gift away. They're not the gift. You're the gift. Give your gift away.
Hmm.
What is the one thing in your heart that you could give away every day that would fulfill you? What does that look like? What's that feel like? Then do it. Make a note. Put it on your cubicle. Do this today. Then you feel so much better. But instead, we want to play the mystery game. How do I help somebody? Stop asking the wrong question. You're asking the wrong question. Don't ask who can I help? I mean, how can I help somebody? Ask this question. Who can I help? Who needs my help today?
Hmm.
Just a quick pause to thank a key supporter making our very first in-person event happen. Huge thanks to the People Readiness Company, our title sponsor for Wake Up HR, Conversations That Fill You Back Up, coming up on August 6th. Now, let's get back to the conversation.
What are some practical things that you would suggest as things that can be implemented to help us get out of our way and try to, one, identify that gift, and then two, how do we, give it to those around us?
Well, the first thing we got to do is we got to change the way we think. Like, that's the hardest part. So that was the first 12 years of our relationship with Dr. Bruce. Basically, was working on my thought process. Here, I'll give you a classic example. I say this from stage quite often. When life gives you lemons, what should you do?
Depends who you ask.
You
The
do when
cliche
life
term
gives
is you
you
make
lemons.
lemonade. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the standard answer, right? So
Throw
Dr.
the
Bruce
lemon.
asked, Dr. Bruce asked me, what should you do? Life gives you lemons. What should you do? Come on, I've heard it 100 times. You make lemonade. He looks me in the face, and this is what he says. That's the most ridiculous thing I could ever tell you could say in your life. He said, first of all, you weren't built for bitter juice. I don't care how much sugar you put in anyway. That default of drinking the bitterness is not for you. That's for someone else who hasn't discovered their purpose. He said, the first thing you should do is life gives you lemons. You should examine the garden of your life to ask yourself, why is my garden producing lemons to begin with? Am I planting lemon seed? And if I am, stop it because I don't want the outcome. And if it's something I can't control, figure out how to move away from it. But if you want to do something with the lemon, pick the seed out of the lemon and grow an orchard and give away lemons and sell lemons. But don't you ever drink the juice because you weren't built for the juice. See how just a little different way of thinking. It's the perception of our mindset has been grained and trained to think a certain way. If you could just change the way you think about the gift that you have, first of all, is the gift valuable? Because if the gift's not valuable, then you won't feel like giving it away. Because watch this. If I needed tires today, and Will, you knew a place that had tires on sale, that would be a tremendous value to me to get 4 new tires, and you knew the place. Would you tell me?
Of course.
Sure you would, because you'd want to share the value with me. Well, why don't we share the value of our life and of our information, of our soul, of our being, of the way we're thinking? No, because we don't see value in it.
Hmm.
Would you sit down at Dalai Lama's feet? Would you sit down at Confucius? Would you sit down at the wisest men of our ages and just learn from them? Absolutely. You don't even know them. You just have a perceived value of what they have to give. You don't even know them. But you sit down with them because of the perceived value. See, that's what people pay for. That's why some people pay for a Mercedes, some pay for a Lexus, some pay for this, some pay for that. They see value. When people see value in you, they're going to want to be around you. So how do you become a person of value? By putting value in other people, not looking for people to value you. I remember I had some gold, and I was just curious. I kept seeing this, we buy gold, right? Like, just curious, what's this thing worth? And the guy says, well, gold's down right now. I said, you're not going to get a lot for it. No problem. I just was curious. I put it back on my neck. And beautiful Figaro necklace, great necklace. And then I go to the same jeweler 2 years later. He says, I'll give you 10 times what I offered for you last time you were here. And I said, why? He said, because the value's gone up.
Mm.
And so it is. When value goes up, we pay more. When value goes up, we pay more attention. When value goes up, the room listens. When value goes up, things change. Nobody wants to be around somebody that's values diminishing. That's why as leaders, we need to be reading every day, putting it into here, because Dr. Bruce said, what goes in here comes out here. What goes in your mind comes out your mouth. What goes in your mind might change your heart. And what goes in your mind might change the world around you. So value, what's your value? And your value is not your title. That's the biggest misconception. Because if they take your title, do they take your value? Absolutely not. Your greatest value is in this, the way you think and your creativity. The Creator created you to be creative. You were built for creativity. That's why leaders create environments all the time. We create. If you can create, you're going to stand head and shoulders above everybody in the room because you did something they couldn't do. Create. That's value. I create environment. I create a product. I create a tool. I create a thought. I create a team. I create this. I create that. I create no matter where I'm at. I walked in the airport this past week. I created a positive environment. People were growing and growing. I'm going to get, isn't it a blessing to be able to fly? You just create. Second thing is the way you think. There's tremendous value in that. How can some people see dirt and other people see gold in the dirt? Right? How can somebody see a clump and they go, "Oh my God, that's just worthless"? No, there's a black diamond right there, worth $18 million, and all you saw was a clump of coal. How can people see that? Because they're looking for value and they know what value looks like. So the first thing we do is we train our mind to think differently every day. Second thing we do is make sure we're putting the right things inside of us. And the third thing, and this is the hardest thing, we got to stop associating with people that aren't going anywhere, that are tearing us down, that are negative people. I'm not talking about the people we mentor. I'm talking about the general people that bring no value to our lives because they take away from our value. Now, your family, maybe one is hard to get away from. I get that. I've got some family members that I love to go, hey, listen, can you change your last name? Probably not going to happen, but, they're tough. But I love them anyway.
Right.
But then there's people that are in my life, ready? Don't miss this, that I allow to come into my life that bring no value. And I ask myself, why? Now, I can't even mentor them because they don't even see themselves at a station in life where they can receive information from anybody. And so you have to be careful who's in your inner circle. So that's some things practical we can do. Change the way we think. Watch what we put into our sensescapes, our mind, and be careful of our association.
So one question that I have specifically on value and sharing the value, and so I've heard time and time again, now this is not all HR professionals, but a lot of HR professionals have said to me, all they do, they as an organization look at me as admin or like they don't see value in what I do. So what kind of advice would you actually give to a person that kind of sees that or hears that?
So this is the first thing you got to do. Then you got to make a value proposition or a value case. So there was an automobile maker, no longer around, in the 80s. They used to make a car where they decided the way they were going to make their vehicle was they were going to go out and talk to people and say, what do you want in this vehicle? How do you want this vehicle to look? And what colors do you want? And what accessories do you want? So they decided they were going to, instead of making a car and selling a car, they're going to market a car to people that wanted it. Well, that's exactly what iPhone did. Apple. Apple came to the market and said, we're going to figure out what people want, and that's what we're going to give them. Now they'll see value in us by simply listening to them. So if I'm an HR professional and I'm working for somebody that says, Oh my God, they're just my glorified HR department, my admin department. They keep us out of jail, out of trouble, out of state off our back. And then you have that kind of talk, right? This is what I do. I go to them and I go, hey, listen, what is the most valuable thing that you see that I do? I ask questions. I ask the right kind of questions. What do you think is the most valuable thing I do for you in this organization? Oh man, you keep the rules, the compliance, you keep that. Fantastic. Yes, I do. But I want to show you 10 other things I do that are valued that you don't even know about. I saved us $200,000 in a court case last year you don't even know about. I was able to mitigate. And you got to state your value case. See, the thing is, you're allowing people to place value on you without you even being able to respond what your real value is. I had a baseball card one time. Now I'm from Baltimore. So I had a Cal Ripken baseball card. Come on, man. Everybody in Baltimore had Cal Ripken baseball cards.
Yeah.
What are you kidding me? You ain't nobody special. Everybody's got Cal Ripken. That's what we went to the store. Give me 5 packs of baseball cards and we throw them all away. Wasn't no Cal Ripkens in there. So that's all we wanted. Now, if I'm trading Cal Ripken in the neighborhood, the guy's like, I got 4 of them, man. I'm not giving you that for them. But I would go see my family in North Carolina and pull it out. They'd go like this. I'll give you $500 for that baseball card. Because they saw what in it? Value.
Mm-hmm.
See, sometimes you're marketing your value to the wrong person.
Or the wrong company, fill in the blank.
Could be.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to convince people you're of value, and they can't even see value in themselves, the company, the people, the employees. So how are they going to see value in you? So we could have a disconnect between what value is, what it looks like, and if you're even valuable. I have a jewelry box upstairs in my wonderful bedroom. All my valuables are in there. I don't displace them. I don't throw them all around. When I take them off, they go in that jewelry box. One thing for sure, if you're in that jewelry box, you're valuable. And so it is with our lives. We treat the things of value very important. We don't even put the time we should put into our bodies, into our minds. This is the greatest value you have, the 3-pound matter in the top of your head called your brain. You should be feeding that every day. That's the value proposition. Yet we want to convince Joe, the regional manager, how valuable we are. And Joe doesn't even know what his value is. We're trying to convince a senior VP or a COO how valuable we are, but we don't know how to state the case of value. Matter of fact, this is what I do. If I was listening today and I was an HR director, I'd sit down and make a list of 100 things that I've done of value. If you can't get to 100, at least get to 99 and write them down. Write them down. You need to start keeping a folder. Every time you do something of value, put it in there. Keep a flash drive. Keep a desktop note. Whatever. You got to start seeing your value. When you do, you'll get treated valuable, and people will value you as a person.
You make a really good point, Milton. So, one of the mentors that I actually look to as a mentor, he was a past manager of mine, and he was wonderful. Gosh, I can't thank him enough. So, if he's listening, Brian Keck, thank you for everything you've done for me.
Thank you,
Truly.
Brian.
He made me, during kind of like an annual review cycle, he said, I need you to sit down and write down all of the things that you've done over this past year. And I need you to reflect because you are the person that likes to go, 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 and you never like to reflect. And you never take the time to see all of the good things that you are really doing to make a difference. And my gosh, I have kept that going since then. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this. And you're right, Milton, it makes you feel more valuable. It's wild, but it's a different mindset shift.
Hey, we can wrap it up now. That's a wrap. She just
Yeah, I
wrapped
know.
us up.
All done.
That was
All
it. That's it.
done.
We can go home now. I mean, that's it. And notice
Yeah.
what you said.
Wow.
You said somebody I was a mentor of mine. Now
Yep.
notice how you started. He was a mentor of mine. And he told me, you got to reflect. That one suggestion saved you what?
I mean, a lifetime of grief and sadness
So
and
here's the
not
part
being
of the
valuable.
mentorship. My job is to put one seed in the ground that's going to change your life. And he did
Yeah.
that with me.
HR professionals sometimes have a stigma, in my
Mhm.
opinion, right? I've heard it a lot, but sometimes HR professionals are looked at as a very like they're in a mold per se, right? And then they feel like they can't lead authentically. So, what would you say to someone who's in HR trying to lead authentically, but they don't feel like they fit the mold as an HR professional in a sense? So, like they're kind of like a different HR professional, maybe the fun HR professional, as I joke about often.
So what you have is you have a person of a personality, a person of a purpose, a person of an approach that may be trying to put a round peg in a square hole. Then you may have, like I'll use this as an example, and I'm not picking on anybody, but let's say your organization is accountants, and you're this funny-go-lucky, happy-go-lucky. We're having this, we're doing this, we're exciting, we're doing this, and the accountant group is going, "That's not the policy upon which we will derive the result that we want. We follow this protocol. This is what we've been doing for 422 years. My father gave me the firm. This is what it looked like, and then we're going to continue now to dismantle." So you're trying to put a round peg in a square hole sometimes. And it's not that the accounting department's wrong. It's not that the HR professional's wrong. It's just that the match is not right. There was a show on TV I absolutely loved called The Millionaire Matchmaker. And I watched it because I wanted to be a millionaire, right? That's the only reason I watched it. I want to be a millionaire. And she would pair these
Who
men
didn't,
up
right?
with
Who
these
doesn't?
gorgeous women. And I'm like, going, that's going to be me. I'm going to be the millionaire on there. She's going to fix me up. And what I began to realize, the more I watched the show, she said this often. She said the reason why the men weren't picking the right women is their picker was off. And sometimes our picker is off with our companies. We think it's the right company, but the culture is not right.
Hmm.
We think it's the right organization, but their belief systems don't line up with ours. That's why his culture is so important. So how do we handle that person that's got all this energy and they want to do it and they're being beat down by leadership? We can't do that. We can't do that. In other words, instead of telling you what you can do, they're always telling you what you can't do. Like how demoralizing is that? This is what I say to you. I say to you, have conversations with them. And it sounds like this. I'm back to asking the right, Dr. Bruce said, ask the right question, you get the right answer. Don't ask people why. That's the worst question. Say this to them. Would you help me understand what it is exactly that you want me to do to drive the morale, the people, the purpose, the vision? Because what I'm trying, you seem to be shooting down, but maybe I'm not on the same page with you. So help me understand what is it you're looking for.
Hmm.
I
That's
want to do the best I can
Hmm.
for you. Help me understand. Show me. Give me an example. Show me a company doing it. Paint a picture of what you want. Because I know I can do that. Communication is not good. That's what the problem is.
Those are hard conversations to have, and I think a lot of that also stems from fear that the other person might not be emotionally mature enough to be able to have that as a constructive conversation, and not be like, well, if you're not happy here, then there's the door. Go.
Obviously, in the wrong place. If you can't even share how you feel, so you should see some sign. And so you should come to work every day with a smile on your face as you're looking diligently for another job. And you should show up every day with intention and purpose and be the best you can be as you're looking for another job. It's a better fit. And see, the problem is that I read this great book. Dr. Bruce always said, read, 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 read. So he said, read to learn. Read to learn. This is what he kept saying. Don't read to read. So he has me read this book called The Psychology of Money. First chapter of the book says, you should never save money to buy things. I just thought, oh my God, Dr. Bruce, you really blew it on this book. Everybody knows you save money to buy things. Oh my God, I got to call him up and tell him this book is terrible. And the guy says, now I got your attention. Let me finish talking to you. He says, you should never save money to buy things. You should save money to have options in your life to do the things that you want. He said, matter of fact, how many of you would like to work part-time, but you don't have enough options because you haven't done the right thing with your money? How many of you are at a job you don't want to be at, but you can't afford to take 6 months off to look because you haven't done the right thing with your money? And so he talked about options, right? So what I want people to understand is you got to go back and start examining your options when you get to this place where I say it's not working or it's not, it's not mutually beneficial. Because I'm promising you, who wants to do something for 65% of your life, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and have a hole in your heart at the end because nobody saw value in you, nobody gave you an opportunity to shine, nobody gave you a chance to be the best version of yourself. You wore a mask every day you come to work, you couldn't be authentic. Like, who wants that?
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah. So we got to ask the right questions. That's how we do that.
Awesome. Well, I think we're kind of wrapping up here a little
Yeah.
bit. You have given us so much information that I was taking notes along the way, and it's a lot to help any of us listening.
Yeah.
So, if listeners could take away just maybe one powerful insight from what we've talked about today, something that could really help them maybe redefine their
Yep.
purpose or find fulfillment really in what they do, what would that be?
Call me. Because the challenge is you're going to try to interpret it yourself. And
Mhm.
that's why I'm an expert because I've done it, I've taught it, I've done it, I've taught it. People paid me, I've done it, I've taught it, I've given it away, I've done it, I've taught it, I've got results. I've done this to 500,000 people over the course of my life in 3 continents and 25 countries. So it's not like I've never done it.
Hmm.
I've done it. Matter of fact, I think you saw me at a SHRM chapter event, right? So people ask me to speak. This is what I do. They bring me back. And so the first thing you should do is reach out. Let's have a conversation about what it is you want. I'm not here to sell you anything. I'm here to help you. Now, if you need my time and you can't do it on your own, then maybe I can help you. But I'm not here to sell you something. I'm here to give you a roadmap and say, go follow this to success. So the first thing you should do is reach out to me at miltonhunt.net, miltonhunt.net. Or you can email me at milton@miltonhunt.net. Real simple.
It's simple. You're also on LinkedIn too, right? Can people reach out to you there?
Yes, there's 15,000 connections there. We posted 926 times last year. We
Nice.
average 4 to 5 times a day. We're approaching 1 million impressions now. And we just believe that's the platform where we're going to make the biggest difference because I can target just HR people, right?
Mhm.
Matter of fact, how about this? I'm going to showcase both of you in this. Got some good news for you. I now have a segment each week I do on my LinkedIn, what I call my scheduled postings.
Hmm.
On Sunday nights, we do something called Wind Down Sunday, where we showcase a woman that's in my network that's doing phenomenal things. That got such great reviews that I decided now to do the HR Influencer of the Week. And I'm going to showcase both of you guys in August in the showcase of the HR influencers. I'm going to talk about your podcast so people can learn more about you.
Oh,
But I
thank you.
want
Thank
you,
you.
I want you to know this, that's the first thing they can do is reach out. The second thing they can do is I put on tons of events free where you can come and learn because here's the real value. Watch this. If you're worth your weight or you're worth your salt, you should be willing to give people enough to show them, hey, there's value there. So I give away, like for example, on July 17th, I'll be doing a session at 12 noon called Building a Culture of Employee Engagement. Well, I'll talk about how we get in people engaged. So you can come to that for free. The next thing you can do is obviously follow me on LinkedIn, but you can go out to my YouTube channel. There's countless videos. Once again, Milton Hunt, search that. I promise I'm the first one comes up. There's nobody got to know about the thing, Milton Hunt. If you search me on LinkedIn, Milton Hunt's the number one thing. And if you don't believe me, just Google me and search Milton Hunt and watch the first name that comes up. So we spent a lot of time building this thing that we want people to have value in us and believe in us. So that's how we can help you. But if I was here today and I was struggling, and I mean I was at my wits' end, I'm going home every night telling my husband I can't take it, or I'm telling my partner, my spouse, I just can't take it. And I'm fed up, I'm frustrated. I wouldn't look at the company, I look at myself. I'd do a deep dive on myself. And I'd ask myself this question: what is it that really fulfills me? Why am I not being fulfilled? What do I need to be fulfilled? Like, I'd ask myself some good, hard questions. And then I'd be willing to say, it might be 2 years, I got to tolerate where I'm at. Notice I said tolerate where I'm at until I can be accepted where I know I should be. And it's tough. It's tough. I mean, to the HR people I meet, they fall in one or two groups, right? I find that they are just knocking this thing out of the park and they're doing phenomenal. But then I look at the culture of the organization and it lends itself to that. Or they're fighting every day, tooth and nail, just struggling along. Oh my God, I can't take it. Like that kind of person.
Mm-hmm.
So they kind of fall in one or two. The people that are in the middle, I can't quite assess them, but I find it's either one of these two places. So, but you guys know better than me. This is what you do. You're in HR.
Depends on
Huh?
Depends on the day. No, really. The organization, luckily, that I work for, they are wonderful. They're very receptive. Their purpose really aligns with my purpose. And honestly, it's everything that somebody can ask for. So I really hope that everybody that's listening on here can really
Yeah.
find that, because it does take some time, and it does take some, time asking those hard questions of yourself, Milton, like you were saying, like what actually fulfills you? What do you want to do with your life? We only have so many years here, and you have to love what you do. You do.
Mm-hmm.
Before we wrap up, we want to give a special thank you to two of our sponsors. First, we'd like to once again thank our launch sponsor, the Bring Disc to Life community at confidentcommunicator.com, for their generous support. We also want to thank one of our founding supporter sponsors, Chain Solutions. They have believed in the Beyond HR podcast since day one, and we are proud to have them alongside us. Chain Solutions has been a trusted name and background screening for just over 20 years. They are accredited, use secure mobile first technology, and offer incredible responsive support with an average response time of just 18 minutes. If you're in need of a background screening partner who gets it right, fast and secure, Chain Solutions is one to know. And just for our listeners, they are waiving their usual $250 setup fee. Just mention you heard about them on the Beyond HR podcast. Thanks again to Chain Solutions for being a part of our journey.
I wish there was a place. Like, I've seen a couple of them on LinkedIn. I'm not sure the real value of all of them, but I wish there was a place where we wasn't selling people anything. We just allowed them to come and be in a safe place to share and to get recharged. Like, I just
Yeah,
wish there was a place like that for HR folks. Matter of
here we
fact,
are.
if you guys want to start that, I'll
Yeah.
sponsor and put money behind that because I want to be the person talking to them. And just think about that as another opportunity, because people are hurting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People truly are hurting. And I can only tell you, no matter if I'm in a SHRM chapter or if I'm in a mega chapter, or no matter where I'm speaking for HR people, you can look in that room and you can see people are beat down. They're beat
Mm.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think that, again, what I caught myself saying this phrase, I think was a couple episodes ago. The whole Spider-Man theme phrase, for with greater power comes greater responsibility.
Yes.
Um, and there's a lot of responsibility that falls on our shoulders that, unfortunately sometimes we don't think about it when we get into the field. That ultimately does take away from your soul sometimes and take away from your energy, and being able to have that. It's funny because we actually have talked about um, potentially that being the end game of the podcast, is creating, a space where it's an anonymous area where we can all get together and have a moment of recharge and replugs. That's kind of funny that you mentioned that.
Yep.
And to be
It's
authentic. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
my
Yeah.
gosh, take off the mask for once. It's okay. And that's what it's okay to be. We need to be authentic, because if you're not authentic, like you said, it's going to drain you
Mm-hmm.
every single day.
so
Yep.
imagine coming to work every day and I only have two hands. But the two hands I got to hold my mask on because I can't allow it to come off, because if it comes off, people find out who I really am.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, Dr. Bruce, I remember I came back and I thought I was kind of smart at this point. after a few years of our mentorship, and I went, "Yeah, Dr. Bruce, I'm just going to fake it until I make it."
Mm.
He looked at me. He said, "Milton, I would encourage you not to do that."
Yeah.
And I thought, but everybody's faking it till they make it. He said, "But see, here's the problem. It's not the faking it till you make it that's the problem. It's the fact that you know you're faking out people." He said, "That's doing more damage to your self-image." He said, "Because you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And when you get found out, that exposure will do greater damage than any good that the faking did."
Yeah, and not even that. I think even bigger. You're killing it little by little yourself and your energy and your inner
Yes.
human being
Because
and
you're
your inner
forgetting who
child.
you are. Because
Yeah.
you're actually getting lost in that fake person
Yeah.
that's over there, and you're getting
Yeah.
lost. And so you lose yourself.
Yeah.
And we all know
I,
what happens when that happens. Thanks for tuning in to the Beyond HR podcast. We hope today's episode inspired you to reflect and grow in your own HR journey. Connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Beyond HR Podcast. If you found value here, share it with your fellow HR professionals. Until next time, keep making an impact on yourself.